Hello, my homies. It's James Finnerty here with Rewind Electric, and tonight we're going to get a little bit deeper into this. I'm just going to start taking it apart right now. The Deluxe Electric Mistress from 1978, as shown in the previous video. First of all, it's going to get a 3-pronged power cord. I don't know if I'm going to do all this on the video, but it's going to get these bread ties taken off the wires. I am going to do that in this video because here I go right now doing it. I don't know quite what they're there for. This is factory wiring. I've confirmed that with some others. So, I don't know. Like these have steel wires in them. So it's not really the most appropriate thing to tie together a piece of AC electronics with internally. And they're just paper. They're paper around steel wire, so seems like it's probably a bad idea. And they're out. You know, you got modern ones that are plastic around steel wire. It might be a little better, but okay. What do we want to do here first? Let's take the PCB out and have a look at it. See what kind of components are on the other side. That sound fun to you? It sounds fun to me. I'll take the switch off and maybe wipe this down too with, gosh, I'm kind of scared to wipe it down with too much. The paint's so fragile. Okay. Let's have a look at this. There's a pretty sweet piece of electrical tape down there. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. Refocused. Okay, so there is a Reticon chip. That's always nice to see. It's a SAD 102A. 102.4A. 1024, sorry. Which I believe is the amount of memory in there in kilobits? I think that's right. An LM324N, I think, over here. Some sort of Texas Instruments op amp, I believe. And 5 nice trim pots. I don't know what they all do. I don't think they're labeled. No, they don't. But you can't access them from the back. So I think that's something I'll probably play around with a little bit. Maybe I'll do a little online looking up first to see if I can figure out what they do. 22 microfarad 50 volt cap that is nearly touching that. I wonder if that's what this was for here. This piece of tape. What is this? I don't know. It wasn't actually protecting it from that diode, but it's nearly touching that diode. So I'm going to get that on the video just so I can remember what it is there. It is a 220 microfarad 25 volt electrolytic, and this one over here is a 250 microfarad 16 volt. I'm going to take some caliper measurements of the two, if you guys would be so patient to bear with me. This is the kind of thing I normally would do with a camera, but since my camera is in use presently for doing something, I'm going to do it on the video. Not that you need these exact measurements, but roughly. So it's 24.6 millimeters by 12.7 millimeters, and this one is 24.2 millimeters by 10.23 millimeters. And this is axial, and the silver one is radial. There's a couple little ones over here. There's a 16 volt 33 microfarad and a 16 volt Oh, what is that? 1 microfarad, I think is what that is. No, this is an AC circuit, so it's perhaps worth getting some replacements for those. Not that I necessarily am going to just shotgun replace them, but that you might benefit from replacement. So for a couple bucks, I'd have them. Oh, look, there's a couple more I missed. There are two 33 volt 4.7 microfarads. Now I am going to put a little piece of electrical tape back on that capacitor. I don't know if that's where it was to begin with, but it seems like a good idea to have one there because it's a metal can and it's leaning right up against the legs of those diodes. So let's just protect everybody from each other in here. There we go. I guess I'll put, it seemed that it was insulating it from the case, which shouldn't matter unless this is, it's not a positive ground pedal. I don't think that would be really weird, but just in case, I'll just put a little piece there too. Won't hurt anything. I wonder what transistors these are. I hate to leave you guys guessing and not knowing, but it is awfully hard to see them. I get my glasses and a flashlight on. So, seven 8L15A. 737 at the top for what that's worth. I have no idea what that is. This is a FZN, I think is the brand. 5087 EBC. Yeah, I'm not familiar with those, but that doesn't really mean much. I'm not super familiar with a lot of transistors. Not quite my wheelhouse, although I know a bit more about the vintage ones and guitar stuff than anything else. Okay, put this fella back. But before we secure it, I'm going to also take this switch off. I don't want to leave that sitting there, so that I can wipe this down thoroughly. And if you watch my early videos, you know I have just the tool to strip it. I mean remove it. Yeah. We're not going to strip this nut. We wouldn't do that to a vintage switch ever. Certainly not again. Oh, hardly wants to grab it. I might just be doing exactly that. I think we're good. Nope. Yeah, so let's see. Okay. Just needed a little encouragement. And now something to wipe that off with. I'm a little scared to use this isopropyl, but I'm going to try in a inconspicuous area first. See what happens. Yeah, it'll be alright if I do it quick at least. I'm just getting the dirt off. Better lean this up on its side. And you can see it is indeed doing that. I've got my window open and the air conditioning on. So you can probably hear the air conditioner, both the rumbling of the actual unit in the attic and then also the compressor outside my window blowing. So probably doubly noisy. But yeah, isotope RX10. Do what we can. Not a sponsor. That's my boy. Hold on, please. All right. My boy wants a chocolate muffin. But what he needs is a nap. So he's not too happy right now. But he's okay. Just fussy. Alright, I got that wiped down to my satisfaction. Now, if you didn't hear it, there was a demo of this Deluxe Electric Mistress on the previous video. Might have been the previous video. I think it was, last one. And yeah, you can hear that. I mean, it was only straight in with a humbucker. Rewind electric creme brulee. Oh no, sorry. That wasn't a creme brulee. That was my VH2. And it was into my little benchtop 1978 Princeton reverb, set to about a roaring 1.5 on the volume knob, because that's really all I could do without blowing out the audio. So, very clean, as you can imagine. Very clean. Okay. Feels like it's on there pretty good. I need a little more cleaning around that switch. Might even give it a little bit of lubrication to that switch, but might not need it. We'll see. Yes. Squeaky clean. That is where the term comes from. It's an actual phenomenon. All right. Should we go ahead and proceed with the cord swap? I mean, why not? You guys aren't here just to see me open the mail, are you? But if you were, teaser. Woo! Look what that is. Good mail day today, and that ain't it. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Now, one of these, maybe it doesn't matter which is which, but one of these has to go to the hot on the 3-prong cord because, you know, I mean, you've got no choice. One is a hot. The cord that came with this is a 2-prong, and it's a non-polarized 2-prong. So there's both of these are the same. Where I'm going with that is that I'm not sure which one of these transformer primary legs I should elect to be the hot versus the neutral. It probably doesn't matter. Well, you know, with all things dangerous AC voltage, the best course of action is generally to just plow through, fire it up, and see what happens. I'm pretty sure that's what they teach you in engineering school, right? I hope this is all in focus. It's really hard to know my shop is so overly crowded right now because I'm just so absolutely backlogged. And if you've ordered any pickups from me, you know that I can't even set up the tripod and the light for the other camera right now. Plus, that takes a lot of time. Where we're just looking at an iPhone here right now, so it's more realistic for me to throw this up when I'm getting something out of the way, so I can get back to other paid work quicker. This is a cool tool. If you don't have one of these, that's probably normal, but this is for getting these very specialized grommets, often used for AC cords, out of chassis. So if you see here, it grabs it and smushes the doodad down if you hold it right, which I'm not. Okay, I'll show you how that gets used when I put one in. Because this is so close to that nice aluminum, and I don't want to mess up the patina on it, I'm gonna just cut that out. If I could find the tool for that job. There we go. Not the hero you wanted, but the hero you deserve. See, it was a lot safer for the metal chassis to just break that grommet than it was to try to cleanly remove it. Now, here's another one. I've got two sizes of these guys. I think this is probably too big. This is more for like an amplifier cord, I think. Well, this is the cord I'm going to use. It's from a Universal Audio LA2A. Teletronics, sorry. So it's about as fancy as a power cord as one can get. Yeah, there we go. I don't do much pickup talk in these videos, I've realized. It's kind of weird since that's the work that pays the bills. But it's just, I don't know. It's kind of boring to watch me wind pickups, and it's kind of difficult because I'm moving around a lot. Maybe I'll do some more of that sometime. Sometimes I video repairs and then it's like, you know, I'm either paying attention to is the camera in focus, or I'm paying attention to the repair and doing a good job, and I don't like to compromise on doing the work, especially on something that's not mine and very valuable. These are mine. So that's why I don't do that a lot. But I imagine I should. Now we need to put a chassis ground on here. Now where Electro-Harmonix decided to put it on their reissues is right there on that lug. I think that's a fine idea. I could solder to this, but I'm a little bit worried that if I solder right there on the chassis, if I get that hot enough to solder to it, it's gonna discolor this. So maybe I'll just do a really great job of putting it on that bolt and then put some Loctite on it. I don't know. It sounds ghetto when I say it out loud, doesn't it? So the trick with these, if if you want them to be done proper, is you want the ground to be the longest and have the most slack, and I think the hot to be the shortest and have the least slack, so that in the event that the cord gets yanked on, the hot is the connection that breaks first, leaving the neutral and the ground intact, and then as it goes and gets yanked on farther, the neutral disconnects and the ground is the last one to come loose, because that keeps your piece of equipment grounded during all those hard times when the when the hot and neutral are breaking and flapping around inside of it. All right, I need a ground log either way, so let's find one. Just looking in the little bin o' lugs here, and probably the smallest one, and we want a full circle loop, and that's this guy right there. I'm going to pull another one out because after this I'm going to do the Deluxe Memory Man. Same job. Only on that one I think I am going to replace the caps, although I'll test them again, because when I tested the caps in the most basic way, this isn't a proper and complete way to test a capacitor, but I just checked the value of them. They both read high, which high enough that knowing those caps and knowing what they do as they get old and then fail, reading high is a step in the direction of being dead. So I'm gonna pull them out, and I'll either pull them out and check them properly, or I'll pull them out and decide that now that they're out to be checked properly, might as well just replace them. And I think I'm going to go with that latter one. I think I'm just going to replace them. Don't hate me. I'm not a replace all the caps guy. Not at all. But I might be one of those. Okay. Fire up the soldering iron. Soldering iron, if you're European. You ever wonder why solder is not solder, but soldier is not solder? Can you see me? I'm just kind of putzing with this. Okay, so the way I like to do these is to double dip. I like to give them a mechanical crimp as such. And then I like to also solder them or solder them. Let's see. Sometimes you don't have the right tool for the job, but you have the right tools to make the wrong tool. Vice grips. And it is a third hand also. So that's going to provide a little bit of a heat sinking action, and it is also gonna hold it in place while I solder it. Made in the USA of US and foreign materials, says my solder. This is the lead free. Some of you might think I'm committing a heinous crime by using lead free solder. I once would have thought that myself too, until I learned more about it and found that they're not all equal. And I do use leaded solder on vintage equipment and when necessary. But on this, it's not. Gosh, that is ugly. I think I can do better than that. Okay, there we go. This I'm just soldering new clean stuff to new clean stuff. It's just a lug there. Okay. I might have preferred a lock washer. All right, can you see in here what's going on? I'm going to rotate this slightly out of the way. Ooh, sorry, that was my head. And I'm gonna rough up the underside of this chassis around that hole. Just a little. And then this side too. Almost certainly not necessary. But this is a power ground. Sometimes you want to do a little bit more than necessary. Now, so we're going to land that there, but we also want to bring these in to say here. So right about there is where we want to put the crimp, or the grommet to crimp the wire. And I can show you how that tool works now, if this is focused. So you take this guy here and you unhook it and you make sure the handle doesn't slide off and you grab it as such, and that's going to squeeze that down. Make sure on that right. Squeeze that down and compress it so you can slip it through the hole in the chassis, which we're going to do right now. Okay, that's it. See how beautiful and easy it was? How long have you guys messed with that? Drilled holes that are too big and then had to put zip ties on the inside and other ridiculous things like that. That's all you had to do. Buy a little, $15 tool. Do it right. Got a little bit of a lump of solder there that needs to go down. Need to make this a little bit thinner. Whew. Okay. It's just sort of physically in the way. It wasn't causing any electrical harm or anything, but I'd like this to go back looking clean. Yeah, that'll do. I hope this screw, is long enough. Yeah, I think it is, to pass through both of these now that I'm adding some more material. Yeah, I think it should be good. I'm going to freely admit right here, I'm not thrilled about this connection. It won't harm anything to... Maybe I will go ahead and solder to the chassis. Yeah. Okay. Even though it's mine, we're going to do it right anyway. That goes against all the rules of craftsmanship of the cobbler's children go barefoot. Which is true. You should see how many pickups or guitars without pickups I have. They're my personal guitars. I don't have any that have stock pickups. I'm not that kind of monster. All right. You see what that is? I don't know if you can. Back out camera. There we go. What I need is, now that we got this transformer out of here and we're going to do proper work instead of ghetto work, we're going to sand that ever so slightly. Okay. And if I can find it, maybe it's over here. Yes. My favorite paste flux. I don't know that we'll need paste flux, but we might. The way these are built from the factory is there's two settings. You can probably hear 1, 2, okay? And the first one is full power. And then the second one is like reduced power. I rewired my switch so that all the way in is full power. And you can see, I see now that I put a label there, full in equals full power. I think that's a smart thing to do. I also think this might be making poor contact. Man, is that not getting hot? Let's see. We'll just hold it there. I can feel it vibrating in my hand while I tell a story. What should I tell? Never used this on a pickup, a guitar. And the reason is the same reason that it is vibrating in my hand. This thing is just a giant electromagnetic transformer. It's an inductor coil. So, yeah, just holding that in, holding that trigger in creates a degaussing tool. This is bad news. It's hardly warm. That is bad news. These might be loose. What do you know? They're not metric. I might be able to do a chassis ground with, I've got a tip for that benchtop iron too. That's a real monster right there. I might be able to do it with that, but I need this iron to work. And I don't know if I have another tip. Not the right one. Better order some. Okay, this thing is rumbling like a monster now, so maybe I just did something right. Yeah, and it's melting solder. There we go. Must have just had a bad connection. Okay, as the solder is ruining the lens on my camera, let's get rolling here. Okay, there we go. Can you see? Just got a little dab of solder on there. And that will hold in place my ground lug once I get this back on. Okay. Where are we at here? 36 minutes. And I think I can cut out like a couple minutes when I went to go check on my family. This is a long format, I guess. Maybe I can use my long intro. Oh no. Sometimes my hands are too big for what I want to do. More pickup talk. What should we talk about? Got to remember to keep talking pickups. A lot of people asking me questions, not necessarily in the comments, but calling or emailing, regarding the phase and polarity video I have on pickups, you know, magnet flipping and coil wiring and out of phase. And 90% of the questions are answered in the video. And sometimes people are like accusatory. I can't believe you did that whole video and you didn't even talk about flipping the wiring. Like, are you kidding? Like, did you watch it? It's not that long of a video. So if I know it's a really confusing topic and I'm maybe not even the best teacher, so it's probably my fault. But what I'm trying to say is, if you are interested in that topic, that video is worth watching more than once. I don't gain anything from you watching it more than once, but you would. It's not something you can just like hear me glaze over and grab it all if you're not already familiar with the subject at hand. So give it a good listen again after you've listened to it. And I bet you find something that you learned something you missed the first time. That's how I am with anything, at least. I usually have to take something in a couple times to get the things that I didn't even know I missed the first time. Okay, that's tight. That's tight. Should put Loctite on there. Hold on, please. O Loctite, O Loctite, wherefore art thou Loctite? Ah, there'th thine R. In there. Okay, so now that I fussed around and got those screws on, let me undo them. I don't need to do it all the way, just most of the way. Get a drop of the... See, Loctite has a bad... This is Thread Locker Blue 242. Anybody ever listen to Front 242? German industrial band? I like them. Have for a long time. Not everybody's cup of tea, though. My complaint about Loctite, which I'm drifting away from, is that they have a Loctite blue and a Loctite red. One comes undone if you encourage it with enough force. The other comes undone with a blowtorch. So they're very different products in how permanent they are. Loctite blue, as I hold here in my hand, comes in a red tube. Okay, now let me just tell you, that's like a carton of milk coming with an orange cap. You look at that and you think it's orange juice, no matter how many times you look at it. That's it. End of rant. If you don't get it, then no problem. Okay. I'm trying to poke a little hole in here to get the goo out. Okay. There it is. Goo's a-flowing. That's a lot of goo. I've got too much goo, but we're gonna roll with that. I think I have a toothpick in here. Yes, one left. I can redistribute some of that goo. Let's see the threads below. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm just taking some goo off the top and moving it to the bottom for thoroughly even goo distribution. And then I'm going to stick my finger on it and mess the whole thing up. Okay. There we go. Actually came out quite nice. Can you see it? I don't know if that's in focus. One more to go. I wonder if I should put the solder on and then loosen the screw and put the Loctite on and then tighten the screw. Yeah. I just don't know if this is problematic for it to get hot, but I don't think so. A little more of that goo distribution that we talked about earlier. Goo distribution, whatever I called it. Okay. All right. Fairly happy with that, but I need a paper towel. Fingers. Uh-oh. Where'd the cap go? There it is. Okay. All right, now we got that 2 bolts locked, tighted, tighted, and it's time to solder that Momo right to the chassis. So we're just going to solder the round lug, which is on the green wire, straight to the chassis. And I'm going to put this under the back. Maybe that's too... I need something to balance this. I just need a little... Here. How about a business card? Rewind Electric brand pedal balancer in the house. Okay. Let's get that hot. I know this is a slow moving video. I apologize for that kind of. Also, whatever. I didn't plan on it taking this long. I don't plan on anything taking as long as it takes. That's like the story of my life. Everything takes a lot longer than I anticipate, and as I recalculate, it seems that they just take infinitely longer. Okay. I just want it to look a little cleaner. I'm just cleaning it up visually. It's electrically sound. Okay, whatever. It's good. It's good and it's good. Okay, you see? I'm grounded on there now. Okay, now we got to connect the hot and the neutral. Didn't even need the paste flux, but we do need a little piece of heat shrink. Such a mess on my bench right now. Boy, oh boy, I'm running out of the heat shrink I need. Have more. Digging it out would double the length of this video. We can make that work. You think we can make that work? I think we can make that work. So we're just going to slip a little sleeve over each one of these doodads. And then I think we'll call this guy hot because he's the furthest away. So if it gets pulled on, remember what I said earlier, it's going to break that one first. There might be a better method I could use to figure that out. You know, like which if this is going to the inside or outside of the coil. You could call it the start or the finish. But I don't actually know that that's even better. It certainly couldn't have made such a difference considering the original plug was not polarized and you could plug it in any which way you wanted. So it's not like it was a functional issue. Okay. And we'll give them a little solder. A little lead-free solder just to rub it in. Good lead-free solder exists. Is it the best? Is it as ideal? Does it melt at as low of a temperature as the leaded solder? No. But that stuff doesn't always matter at all. Is it as mechanically sound? Yeah. That matters. Is it as electrically conductive? I don't know. I'm going to say it's, you know, it's like 0 ohms of resistance is 0 ohms to me. And I'm not reading to 10 decimal places because I don't need to. Uh-oh. I'm losing my sleeve here. Okay. Okay. Now we just take our clean flameless heat gun and shrink those up. Whoops, that's not what this is. But it'll work. There we go. I think we're approaching the end of our mission here. I'm just gonna tuck these guys back where they were. A little tuckety tuckety and a little tuckety tuckety. I am one bad tucker. Actually, I guess I'm pretty good tucker. That worked out well. Okay. Yeah, that is on there good. Okay. Okay. I'm going to give it another little drop of Loctite because I heated that joint up. Now it's cooled. And I got it in the threads. That's where you need it. I'm going to put another one on top because it needs it, and doubt it. Because I can? Yeah. And it'll remind me that I put it there at all if I see it later. It's kind of like a inspection paint in that regard. It's marking it. The lockiness, tightness. Okay. Are we just for real done? I think so. Let's button it back up. Now is the time when we find extra parts. Let's see, I've got 6 screws. Oh, that is the correct amount to have at this point. But I have 0 screwdrivers. That's not the correct. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. 1 screwdriver is the correct amount. I don't have any rubber feet on the bottom of this. I'll have a look in a second. I think I might have some. Almost certain I do. And I've got like some wah pedal parts that have rubber feet, but I want the right ones. Went to Costco right before I did this. That's like Sam's Club for you East Coasters. And man, they had some giant dino ribs there. You know, beef ribs. About almost $300 for a rack. But, I mean, that's a lot of food. They looked really good. But I've got a lot of... I don't have a lot of time to smoke something like that right now. As much as I love barbecue and I would enjoy doing it. Okay, let's give the knobs a quick little wipe. Do not clean Bakelite and Dakaware with rubbing alcohol like I'm about to do. That's a bad move. Don't do this thing. Do not do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And definitely don't do that. Definitely don't do this. Okay. Squeaky clean. Don't do that. Let's hear it. Okay, turn up the power supply to the Princeton reverb at 116.3 smoking volts. Trash. I guess I'll plug it into the power before I plug it into the amp. That is something that a smart person might do if I was going to pretend to be one. And yeah, nothing's on fire yet. Hour. Is anybody going to watch this for an hour? I mean, that would be really wild if you did. All right, man, that came out great. There's no additional noise. It's not humming or anything. It's doesn't tune your guitar to add a ground wire to your pedal, that's for sure. I already did some demos of this. Too intense for me. I like these way down settings. But we've heard me noodle that a lot, so. Wow. Too much, too much. Alrighty. An hour's long enough. You've heard this. Bye-bye.